What's up, guys? Matt Brown here for lineups.com. Let's talk some Thursday night football. The New York Football Giants and the Philadelphia Eagles. This is an article up over at Lineups right now about some touchdown scoring odds and some picks there from Noops. So be sure and go in and check that out. If you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button here on the channel. Everything we do absolutely free. As we see right now, this is sitting 7.5 in favor of the Eagles. It is 40.5 on the total. This is an Eagles team that has been struggling on the offensive side of the ball, being able to put together consistent offensive, like good quality offensive drives. Get one good one, and then you get three bad possessions. And one good one, you get a couple bad possessions. This Eagles team has not been able to do this on a consistent basis so far this season. And I think this is a decent little opportunity here to get things rolling against a Giants team that's in the bottom half of pretty much every single defensive metric out there. About the only thing they have going for them is that pass rush with that front four of theirs. But you know, we've seen so far it hasn't been enough to get this team over the hump. So we'll see if Landon Dickerson plays here for the Eagles, which would be a pretty big deal on the offensive line for the Eagles. Being down another starter against this pass rush would make things a little bit more difficult. So that's something we'll monitor up to game time. 90 minutes before game time is when they will announce all of that. I have a pretty decent lean towards the over in this one. I understand that some of these Thursday night games get wonky and all of that, but I think with the Giants being down Malik Neighbors and then also in this game being down Darius Slayton, I think they almost maybe go into YOLO mode. I think that maybe there's a decent shot that they kind of try to just open this up a ton and see what happens. And here's the deal. It either works and they move the ball down the field and they score, or it doesn't and Jackson Dart turns the ball over a ton and then the Eagles get short fields and it's easy for them to score. So there's kind of a couple of different ways for the over in this to work out. Either the Giants offense works being opened up and a little bit more wide open, or Jackson Dart turns the ball over a ton, like we saw last week, 5 consecutive possessions for this Giants team. And short fields equal easy points for the Eagles. So I have a pretty decent lean towards the over there in that one. I really like some of the player stuff here in this one for me. Start with the passing yards, and you can see we're asking for 200 from Jalen Hurts. It's been an interesting season for him as a passer. The reason while there's a lean towards the over here for me, the reason I can't get there, I don't know the offensive line situation right now. And so since I don't know the offensive line situation, there is a decent possibility that if Dickerson sits, that things could get a little rough for Hurts. On the rushing side of things, you see Saquon's way up here at 83.5 yards. And the reason for that, and you can see it's even juiced towards the over in this one, probably a couple different reasons. One, they got to figure out a way to get him going. He just hasn't been playing up to the level that he played to last year. And then also you have a Giants defense, 28th in rush success rate allowed on the season so far. You've got 30th in EPA per play with their rush defense so far. So it is an obvious weakness for them, for this team to attack. And so I do think that Saquon gets fed in this thing fairly decent. But the reason I went to the rushing props, I'm going to try and tell a story here in this game of the Giants being behind and having to play from behind. And that starts with Jackson Dart and his rushing yards. I know 37.5 seems like a lot, but the thing is this, he's already shown the propensity to just take off running. He's a pretty athletic dude as well. So like he can get yards in chunks, and there might even be a designed run or two mixed in with this one with Jackson Dart. This isn't like the free square we were getting with Drake May last year for the majority of the season. So the books did adjust, but I do think that there is a really high upside for him to maybe even get into the 50s here in this one. If they're playing from behind, he's dropping back a ton. What happens when you drop back a ton? If receivers are covered or if you see a lane, a lot of these guys will just take off. And certainly Jackson Dart is one of those dudes that will do that. So I like him a lot here. And we're going to tell a story of this team trailing, which is why now I'm going to go to the receiving side of things. and they're down basically all their receivers, right? They will have Wan'Dale Robinson, and then Theo Johnson, of course, is their tight end. But after that, where are you going to go? What are you going to do? Well, I'm going to take over on Bo Collins at 13.5. Bo Collins might actually run, depending on how they decide to play this, he might actually run in 2 wide receiver sets out there for this team because they're down so many players and don't have anyone to do anything. And so it might not be every single 2-down set, but it certainly will be, certainly he'll be out there in some of them. And increased route participation usually equals increased targets. And again, I'm telling the story of them being down. So Bo Collins might get far more targets than we think here. I mean, if we can get 5 or 6 targets in this game for Bo Collins, obviously getting to 14 yards should be a slam dunk. So again, playing that over on Bo Collins. And then the last one here, again, telling a story of this team trailing. I like the over 2.5 receptions on Cam Scatterbo. While Tyrone Tracy is back for this game, he's not a good receiver. He's not the dude that's going to be out there in the 2-minute or the 4-minute or in the just like, hair on fire chasing from a couple scores down, having to, throw, basically every single down out there. That is actually going to be Cam Scatterbo, who, shockingly enough, doesn't seem like it would be one of his strong suits, but it's one of the actually top graded receiving backs through the first 5 weeks of the season, according to Pro Football Focus. So Cam Scatterbo getting over 2.5 receptions is kind of the third part of this story, which is the Giants are behind. They got to pass a ton. If you got to pass a ton, you drop back a ton. If you dropping back a ton, the scrambling opportunities increase a lot for an athletic guy like for a guy like Jackson Dart. Then we come over here. We're talking about getting some yardage to these receivers. Everyone's hurt. So Bo Collins, increased participation. We only need 14 yards out of Bo Collins. And again, if we're not running and we're only passing, Scatterbo's the back that's going to be out on the field, not Tyrone Tracy. So with that, some dump offs here and there. And I think we can get to 3 catches over the course of the game for Cam Scatterbo as well. If you're wondering about A.J. Brown, where we sit with all of that, I mean, this yards still tells me, although it's not wide receiver 1 yardage at 65.5, it still tells me that he's supposed to be in that wide receiver 1 range. It's gotten too juiced. I would almost rather play a receptions than I would a yardage because I don't know if they're, again, if this offensive line is going to be able to hold up a ton against this defensive line. So maybe they just have to do really quick passes to A.J. Brown, stuff close to the line of scrimmage, little manufactured, bubble screen things and all of that. But this is juiced way too much. See if this maybe comes back down before game time, or if you can even find a 5.5 out there at plus money. Maybe that's the route you want to take. If you believe the whole, squeaky wheel gets the grease type thing with A.J. Brown. And they honestly got to figure something out through the air as well. This is a team that wants to win the Super Bowl, and they've been very inefficient throwing the ball so far. So something's got to be figured out there with that one. So yeah, like I said, maybe find a 5.5 they're getting plus money on that. So for me, guys, kind of a quick wrap up. Pretty decent lean towards the over. Those player props we just talked about as we tell the story of the Giants playing from behind. Obviously, this is going to be a very popular teaser leg. I would never tell you to not play the Eagles down to 1.5. So if you wanted to go ahead and get in on that, either in a same game parlay tonight or in pairing it up with one of the tons of other options that you have throughout the course of the week, I don't hate that either. If you have not done so already, hit that subscribe button down below. Let us know in the comment section how you are playing Thursday Night Football, and good luck on all your Eagles and Giants bets.